Today, in keeping with the times, we're going to talk about high shines and misdemeanors. What do we mean by that? Well, typically, most tools I see restored are done with a high shine. Looks good on a lot of tools. In my opinion, doesn't look good on some tools, but everybody's got different tastes. Everybody has different opinions. But I did a little work because I found in the past when I painted some tools with badly textured finishes, bad pitting, rough finishes, and painted them with a paint, that high gloss paint didn't show up well. In fact, it made some of the imperfections look worse. Of course, many of the high shine tools are ground down, and a lot of the metal removed, so you can create that high shine. That's okay too. But then again, some tools are pretty difficult to do that way. Got a lot of components, a lot of angles. Depending on the equipment you have, you can do it, or maybe you can't do such a good job. Anyway, they're all different ways of doing it, and I discovered another way I'll share with you today. It may or may not be right for you, but hey, maybe you'll find out it works for you and you'll give it a try. First of all, I'm going to show you some tools, give you an overview of their condition, what needs to be done, and then after I show you the three tools, I'll get into the details of the restoration. Here's a caliper in need of some love. Made of steel. The only marking on it, it says Germany. There's no other maker's mark on it. It's really tight, dirty, hard to pull, hard to work, but everything else seems to be in good order. It's straight. Needs some cleaning and lubrication and some testing to check it out, so I'll do that now. Here's a nice little monkey wrench, 6 5/8 inches long. I like these miniature wrenches. You got all the style of the big ones, but in smaller size. This was made by W&B Manufacturing Company. Written on here, made in USA. Whitman and Barnes, W&B, was established in 1848. Don't know exactly when this wrench was made. This design is almost like a generic design. There are a lot of wrenches with this same exact design out there, or close to it, look a lot like it. This one is in fairly good shape. It's a little tight to operate, and the handle is loose, and it's been written on someone's name, carved in there, pitted. So we'll clean this up and bring it back, and maybe in the meantime we'll get a little history on it too. Fortunately, I was able to tear down this wrench completely, get a chance to inspect all the components, just rust, patina, pitting. I'm able to see the name clearly now on the logo, W&B Manufacturing Company, made in USA. On the back side is that great statement on lots of tools, drop forged steel. So some good wire brushing and polishing and redoing this nice wood handle, which is in good shape except for that heavy engraving on there. We'll have a nice looking wrench. Bring it back later. Lastly, this nice wrench, I can't read the name on it. Combination wrench. I've got several combination wrenches in my set. Nice design. Seems to turn well and everything. The only thing about this wrench is, seems to be a free-floating part on here. It's not attached to anything. Nothing looks missing or broken off. When you turn it to close, it will close, but when you open, you can't open until you slide it down. Now, I don't know if this wrench is so old that you have to put it on and tighten it up every time. I don't understand that part of it. This part not moving. Like I said, it doesn't look broken. Pretty rough condition. Once I get it cleaned up, that name on here I'm sure will show better. I just quite might make it out, so after I get some cleaning on it, we'll find out all about it. Anyway, well, here's that wrench after a long soap and a scrub with soap and water. Still pretty gross. Got a long way to go. It'll take wire brushing and scrubbing and lots of work, but we'll get it there. It'll turn into a nice item someday here. Got a nice cracked handle too. Don't know whether I'm going to repair or replace yet. Now here's the caliper in the original condition. All steel. Made in Germany. And I elected to do the high shine on this one. The high shine seemed to be the right thing for this tool, and that's what I did. Here's the tool with the restoration. This was done by wire brushing, scrubbing with real fine steel wool, and then later on, my favorite, Flitz. Flitz is made for objects like this, and it cleaned it up nicely. There were a lot of stains on here too, and I had to scrub hard to get the stains removed. There's still a little bit of staining that wouldn't come out, but overall, did nicely. This operates by pulling on it here and getting it to the right position. You can, and then once it's in position, you can lock it in place with this little lever, but you got to be sure and hold it really still. Oops, hold it really still, because it tends to move on you a little bit when you're toggling the switch here. The hard part of this tool is reading it. This little mark here, first little mark on, actually the first little mark on the gauge part, not here on the scale here, but on the slide, is what determines it. And you look at, if you can see it, this first little mark, and then you match it up on the scale here, will tell you what the distance you're measuring with your caliper. If you're measuring in millimeters, of course, it's good because this is a millimeter scale on the bottom. The upper scale would be in inches. Since it came from Germany, it's the opposite of what we'd see here in the United States, where you put inches on the bottom, and secondary would be your metric scale. But when you're trying to match up that fine line on this sliding scale here to the inches, you can't get it exactly. You can get it close, but if you want to be very precise in your measurements, this one's not going to do it for you on an inch basis. Now on a millimeter, it is. It works as well as it can work on this type of scale. And it finished out nice. The jaws are nice and tight, straight. Did some measurements with it. They came out accurate. So it does operate as should be. Looks a lot better. And again, this is the high shine finish. Looks really good. That's the way it should probably look coming, from the factory when it was new. The next item I showed you was this nice monkey wrench. 6 5/8 inches long, so it's a small wrench, but it has, like I said, all of the features of the big wrench, just a smaller scale. And of course, was working rough and needed some work, and had that carving in the handle. And but this wrench is made by W&B Manufacturing Company, which was Whitman and Barnes. The company was established in 1848. I don't know exactly when this wrench was built, but there were a lot of them built in the mid to late 1800s. Look very similar. They maybe had a little variation on the handle, but basically they look very, very similar. I elected to do a different finish on this one. The reason being was the pitting and a lot of the issues with it. I decided in this case to do something a little different. And what I did was this. And what's different about this is I used a different type of finish on it. I'll show you what it is and explain how it worked. This is a flat crystal clear paint from Krylon. And basically it's a clear paint. Like it says, it's clear, but it's flat. No shine to it. And the reason I didn't shine it is when you've got some pitting left and you've got some imperfections on the tool, hammering marks and so forth that you didn't take out, you put that on it and it really tends to smooth out the wrench. As I experienced when I did some clamps recently, if they have a pitting and scarring, or if they have a very rough finish, when you use a bright shiny paint on them, it just accentuates all those imperfections. So I was looking for something that would sort of even it out to where they didn't show. So by taking this wrench, putting the nice finish on the handle, and then applying the flat clear finish to the wrench itself, I think it made it finish out nicely and look probably similar to what the wrench looked like new. I don't know exactly what it looked like, but as you can see, these wrenches were made to operate one-handed, and this operates very smoothly after cleaning and finishing. Didn't even have to put any type of lubrication on it. Works smoothly, handles tight, and really looks nice. So I'm pleased with the different type of finish I tried on this. May not be what you want to do. I've seen these finished with a high shine, and I decided I wanted to try something a little different. See how it ended up, and I'm pleased with it. At least in my opinion, it's fine. Next up is this nice combination wrench. Combination pipe and monkey wrench. Had some issues with it, and showed you that when we took them down. But I decided to do a similar finish on this that I did with the small little W&B wrench. Again, this wrench was severely pitted, hammered on, so we smoothed out the rough edges, did a lot of filing on it, got those out. But to take this down to a high shine finish, there were just so many little ridges and places in it that would be difficult to get to. I decided, okay, I'll get it as smooth as possible. I'll do what sanding on it I can, get it in as fairly good shape as I can, get everything straight. But I put that nice flat finish on it, and by golly, it turned out pretty nice. It's as you can see, it's a flat finish, so it gives it the basic metal look, but it doesn't accentuate all of this hammering and other imperfections. You can see the name a little better now. It says the letter L and then engine wrench. I don't know what the first name is, so I couldn't determine the maker on this wrench. I'm assuming around, well, that did have the patent dates. And this wrench was patented in 1877, then again on December 12th, 1883. About that time, a lot of these type wrenches were made. Again, this is a fairly common design. There were a lot of different companies who made combination wrenches. They had a little different handle, a little different turning on them. The handle came out nice. You know, that was cracked and worn and really toughly oil soaked, so I did a lot of scraping and sanding to get it to a good condition. And it was a part that I assumed was not working right on here, and that was, you could tighten the wrench, but you couldn't loosen it because it wouldn't pull this back down. It wouldn't pull this mechanism back down. And it was pointed out to me by Magdad that this wrench had a part on here that hooked into this lip, hooked around, and it was so broken off so cleanly, I didn't even realize that it had been on there. So with that on there, it would have pulled this mechanism up and down. I did notice one thing though. It's a heavy mechanism, and if you're tightening the wrench up, it moves fine. If you're loosening it and you've got it pointed down, it falls right back down with it. Of course, I guess because I cleaned it so well and it slides so well now. But that part is broken, and it would take this whole part, this whole mechanism together, replaced to repair it. So no repair on that for me. I don't have anything available there. Maybe I'll come across a wrench in the future that has that part available. But I like the finish on it. To me, it turned out nice. It gave it a nice matte look. Steel, industrial steel look. Might not have been how the wrench was intended, but it's a heck of an improvement, and it'll look nice on the wall. Here's a bonus item. I recently acquired this nice Crowder 1831-8 pliers. These are beautiful. I haven't had any. I saw several people restore them and I really fell in love with them and stumbled across some. It had nice engraving on the handles. Got the Crowder name inside on both handles. Really, it had some initials carved in it, which like a lot of tools do. But on this wrench, most all of them I've seen have been restored with a super high glossy shine, where they took the old finish off, got it down to the bare metal, and then shined it back up by various methods. In this case, I just cleaned it up as best I could. I left the original finish on there, which to me, might be wrong, but to me it was probably the original finish on the tool. Might not have been, but it sure looks nice. Turned out to be a nice wrench. And here's a case where I didn't put any finish on it. I just cleaned up what was on there and got it to the level that I thought was appropriate for the tool. Everybody has different taste. Everybody has different ideas. So that's my thoughts. So there you go. Today's restorations with 4 different finishes, from a high shine to a matte to a natural finish on the tool. Every tool got something different. My thoughts were that's what these tools needed. You may do them differently. I've seen some of them and they look good. To me, these look fine. Thanks for watching and listening to my opinions.